Today we are off to see the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut. The mortuary temple of Hatshepsut, located on the west bank of the river Nile, a land synonymous with the setting sun, and thus symbolic of completion and death. And this is why we find not only tombs, but also temples that were built by several pharaohs to sustain their spirit. While we can find a number of temples located here on the West Bank, perhaps the most famous of all is located at Deir el-Bahari, Jeseru, the most sacred of sacreds for the ancient Egyptians, known to us today as the Temple of Hatshepsut.
Hatshepsut.
Very good, because some of the tourists, they can't say
Hatshepsut.
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 Yeah.
How do you say it? Deir
el-Bahari.
Deir el-Bahari. Deir el-Bahari. You see up ahead, Trini, the temple is built into the mountain. This is the temple of Hatshepsut.
Are we gonna go in there?
Yeah.
What? Is that big?
Yeah.
Does it have a lot of stairs?
No, like two levels to go up.
Assalamu alaikum.
So here we are, we're now about to enter the Bazaar, where we will probably be hassled to buy stuff along the way. We kindly say La Shokran.
Rasta never die. Rasta never die.
Problems that I find with a lot of the Egyptian vendors is that they all carry the same stuff. You can pretty much get the same thing everywhere you go at all the different shops. Rasta never die. So it's the same thing, and you know, you'd think they would want to diversify the merchandise at some point. We go in this way, guys.
Zaraz dam taki
One student to die. $350 for 2 students and 1 adult.
We're down to 2 students. You meant 1 student and 2 adults.
Some people are rude. They just bumped right into it. Come over here, guys. This is what we're about to see right here. Oh yeah, and you also want to remember to get a second ticket so that you can get the ride over here. Otherwise, it's a really long walk. You're going to want to take the ride up the avenue that used to be an avenue of sphinxes, although the sphinxes are no longer there. So you're not just going to get a ticket for entry, but also a ticket for the ride that takes you to the temple. There's a ticket office, but you also want to get the Taf tickets here. So now I have the Taf tickets. These are good to come back too, right?
I know, up and down.
Okay, sure.
It's coming here. Hello.
guys, we're at the temple of Hatshepsut. My mom likes Hatshepsut a lot, so we're here.
We live in Bairat. From America, but we live in Bairat. We live here, yes. Yes. Really the only surviving sphinx here that was once part of an avenue of sphinxes that would have lined this way all the way down, and this would actually align all the way with Hatshepsut's chapel or at Temple of Karnak. Djeser Djeseru, the most splendid of all. Take notice of the vertical lines in the architecture, juxtaposed against the mountain backdrop. It inspired architects for ages to come, but it was built upon an older plan, paying homage to the 11th Dynasty pharaoh Mentuhotep II, whose temple now lies in ruins just next to the Temple of Hatshepsut. The temple's integration into the natural setting is credited to Hatshepsut's chief architect, Senemu, who is also rumored to be her lover, though there is no evidence to confirm this, but what we find is a rare instance of his name on a wall hidden within a specific part of the temple. Upon walking up the causeway, to the left we reach the Chapel of Hathor, the sacred divine feminine cosmic principle of nourishment. Here we find 16-sided columns, which appear to be round, while others are square, and they're all topped off with capitals that form the face of Hathor. So this area is closed off now. There's a working area here. Typically you could get in closer, but apparently they're working, so to go today. Through this door, one would find the name of Senemu, but it's now closed to the general public. And here, upon the head of Hathor, we find the shape of a sistrum, a musical instrument. The columns aligned with much hieroglyphic text, such as this, which reads, "To give life to the beloved Amun." While Hathor can come in the form of a sistrum, she's typically depicted as a cow. And here we see Hatshepsut drinking the milk for divine nourishment to sustain the land of Egypt. We will now continue on across the temple to the pillared hall and see Hatshepsut's expedition to Punt.
That lady is the queen of Somaliland. Her in person is standing to welcome the Egyptian army that came there to get mira. It's a kind of incense that's actually myrrh.
As early as the 5th Dynasty, pharaohs such as Sahura would set out on adept expeditions to the land of Punt to come back with many resources. They would have to disassemble and reassemble boats, head across the desert sands on treacherous journeys just to get to the Red Sea. The land of Punt is a mystery in itself. No one's quite sure exactly where it is, although it's likely it's probably neighboring Somalia. Of all the expeditions, Hatshepsut's was the most famous, for she brought back many minerals, resources, ivory, resins, and of course, myrrh.
Here are measuring something with baskets. That is the myrrh, we call it myrrh. Mirror. Mirror. Oh, mirror. Not mirror.
No, myrrh.
Myrrh.
Frankincense.
Frankincense and myrrh.
Yeah.
Frankincense and myrrh. Okay, that's the one that is being measured here by baskets to know how much did we bring it from there. And the trees that were brought with them alive from the incense, that is still there in baskets, as you can see. Hatshepsut have tried actually to plant them here in a big garden in front of the temple.
Among the many treasures brought back from Hatshepsut's Punt expedition were trees, making her perhaps the world's first arborist, a specialist in the cultivation and maintenance of trees. Unlike other New Kingdom temples, here we find no battle scenes, implying that Hatshepsut's reign was a time of peace and prosperity. After exploring the Anubis Chapel on the far right, we head up the ramp to the third level, where we find Hatshepsut in an Osirian pose. Queen Hatshepsut can often be found depicted as a man. She wore the royal beard, the headdress. And while she was in fact a pharaoh, she was not the first female pharaoh. But she was perhaps the most famous, and for the Rosicrucians, she represented a hidden harmony. Amazing.
Why'd you touch it? Why'd you touch it?
One of the names. Exactly. So they would add more titles for him according to different priests and according to different authorities that existed by that time. Yes.
What did you think about the Hatshepsut's Temple, Trinity?
It was good.
Did you learn anything?
Yes, I learned 3 hieroglyphs. Give, life, beloved. There are a lot of those too. They're one of the more easier to write glyphs. Because some of them, like the birds, like I wouldn't be able to do that in like one shot. Like I wouldn't be able to do that perfectly in one shot, but these people just off the beaten path. See, we're not on the path.
for this one, everyone. We're now leaving the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you in the next one.